This is Deandra Beatty, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
Hi, this is Jackie Bowling, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
This is Jeff Riggles of Storm Products and the 11thframe.com. You're listening to The Bowler Show.
Hi, this is EJ Tackett, and you're listening to The Bowler Show.
Welcome to The Bowler Show, featuring interviews with the biggest names in bowling today. Tonight, we've got a packed show. We start with Sam Swinford, who made a run at the singles lead at the Open Championships a couple days ago with an 8:35. Then we have the tireless Blair Blumenscheid, who is the communications manager for Storm. Next up is Alex George, who got to the singles lead at the Open Championships a few days ago with a huge 8:48. He's followed by USBC Public Relations Director Aaron Smith to try and sum up the crazy last couple weeks at the OC. Then PBA member Zach Wilkins closes the show to talk competing around the world in his monster 1455 5-game set of a couple weeks ago. And now your hosts, David the Waswo and myself, Luke Rosedal. Howdy, how we all doing? Managed to, I think, pronounce all those names correctly, so Blair's was the hard one, though.
Actually, I think you should run the whole show. I like listening to your promo more than I like listening to us.
Okay. I'll take it.
The promo to me is very good. I think that's one of the best items that we have on our show. So obviously you can see Luke and I are in different areas of the world right now. We've decided to try and do this from two different sites. So I don't even know. We did this a couple of weeks ago when I was in Vegas. And everything went fine. Of course, we had the guests on site, so a little bit different situation there. We're going to be bringing them in. We've done some testing already, and it looks like we can bring in 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever amounts of guests we want to give it a shot. But looks like everything's good to go for this dual studio day.
Yeah, everything looks good, and you got your picture's nice and clear, and I can hear you. And that's kind of doing a video show like this. Sometimes it's a little sketchy with getting the technology to cooperate, and everything seems to be cooperating. So I don't want to jinx it, but I do have to tell you that we went to Starlight in McPherson for a little 6-gamer yesterday. Jason Elliott shot 300, and I had the camera on him for 2 full shots and didn't black cloud him. So
you were not quite a seasoned veteran as I am at that. So I saw he shot the house record the first 3 games too, right?
865.
Oh,
it was nutty. And he said that's the first time he shot 300 since because he hadn't bowled for a while, and then he just kind of picked it back up 4 years ago. Had not shot an honor score in the last 4 years, and then we go to Starlight, this old 16-lane wood house. And he goes 267, 300, 298. So 865 new house record.
That's pretty good. How close to the house record were you the first 3?
Well, the old house record, I was about 210 off or something like that.
Oh.
Which was Bo, the owner of Starlight. Now he doesn't have the house record anymore, but.
Well, he does own the house, and we want to give him a shout-out. He bowls our Kansas City tournaments, one of the good guys in bowling. So if you're ever out in Hutch or around that area, check him out, Starlight Lanes. Maybe we should bring him on as a sponsor. We'll talk to Bo about that the next time. But speaking of our sponsors, you want to run through them? You want me to run through them? We're kind of just winging it today.
Yeah, I've got to remember all the. I can just look at. So we got Logo Infusion, we got Cool Wick, we got Bowler's Mart. Storm, of course, the title sponsor, I guess you'd have to say. Turbo, SRGBBFS, and then our extra sponsors that help us out are S&H Custom Homes, Double J's Pro Shop, and Bobby Jackson's Trading. I think that's all. I might have to get a list or something.
That is that's all I can remember. And obviously, Logo Infusion is now known as I Am Bowling, or at least that's the side of the bowling that we deal with Ken and Kathy Keegan, of course. But we obviously can't do the show without our title sponsor, Storm. Of course, you've got the nice Storm banner. I got to get one of those for my house. I've basically just thumbtacked a shirt on the back wall here, so my graphics aren't quite as fancy, but they're at least I've got something on the wall there that shows our name on there, and I think that's kind of cool. I actually like that. I like that shirt.
Yeah, and this your shirt looks good, but this is like one of those pro shop displays. It's got an LED light that goes around it, and so it's I can put several different lights up there. So yeah, that'd be a cool little thing to have on the wall in the background there.
All right, well, let's run down our guest list real quick, and then maybe you and I can share a quick Norm Duke story. As most people know, he just threw his last ball in competition, PBA 50, or any competition, according to Norm. So after Sam Swinford, we're going to talk with the communications manager, Blair Blumenscheid. And I know you went through all this in your intro, but we'll go ahead and go over it again. Alex George, of course, also staying with the USBC National Tournament, setting the lead at 848 this year, having a chance at 869. Bo Gergen, if you're listening, I'm sure you were alerted to that fact, and maybe I got a chance to follow that on bowl.com at the live scoring. Of course, we will bring in Aaron Smith, as you said, at 7:20. He's going to recap Sam and Aaron and everybody else that have done stuff here in the last couple of weeks, and then we're gonna end our show with Zach Wilkins, who also set a USBC record for 5 games, shooting 14.55, and then he's got some stuff to talk about. We'll just leave it at that you will not want to miss at the end of the show. So, Luke, why don't you give me your best Norm Duke, either story or just memory?
I don't know. See, it was I remember the old growing. I liked watching the arena finals, like way back when. And so I think probably my favorite one is when Norm shot, and I can't remember this. I think this was an arena final. It's just it was just a little bit more packed, but had Norm shooting 300 against Walter Ray, and then just as soon as he threw the shot, the camera's going in on the ball, and you can just see his arms as he's jumping up and down, and then he just runs back and he just jumps on Walter Ray, and of course I think that was. I don't know if that was the first or second time, but Walter Ray's had several 300 shot at him on TV. And so, he wasn't the happiest, but Norm was just like, hey, yeah, I shot 300. He just goes and jumps on Walter. And so that's, I don't think I've actually ever met him. We had him on the show before. And I have a bunch of memories, but I think that's one of my favorite ones, just, thinking back to, 20 or 25 years ago or however long that's been now.
Well, my favorite story, and there's a few with Norm, but the one I can't, and I wish I could bring up this photo right now, but I don't have access to my phone currently. But as luck would have it, in 2010, when I was inducted in the Kansas City Hall of Fame, they always have a guest speaker there. And this year, as luck would have it, it was Norm Duke. Uh-huh. So Norm was there, and I kept thinking, was Norm going to remember? I hadn't really dealt with him too much. And so I kind of stayed away from him. They talk with the guests and stuff beforehand. That's kind of what they're paid to do. So I thought, well, I'll just kind of hang, and if I get a chance, I'll talk to him. If not, then we'll go from there. So as it turned out, I didn't have a chance to talk to him. So when they announced my name for the induction, of course, another one of Norm's duties is to hand out the plaque. So when I got up there, Norm's like, he didn't look through the inductees' names or anything. So he's like, well, why didn't you come say hi? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you come see me? I was like, dude, I didn't know I could come to you and just do that. And he's just always been like that. And there's been a couple of he's actually been in Kansas City. He did a clinic over at Mission Bowl. He's just always been good with people. And so for me, it was just kind of that interaction. Why didn't you come see me? And I'm like, well, you're Norm Duke, and I'm kind of a schmuck, so I didn't know that was a thing. But a lot of memories. Obviously, I bowled when Norm did on tour. And I shared that in my Hall of Fame speech, how we both went a few years without wins. A lot of people don't realize he won when he was 18 years old, and then he didn't win for a while.
Yeah, it was a while.
So, it
was a long while.
Yeah, he had thought about, hey, is this really what I want to do? And had a giant backswing, and he fixed all that stuff, and went on to 35, I believe, national titles somewhere around there. So
40.
My favorite Norm story. Luke and I are going to talk with the guests today, and we're gonna get some fun stuff from everybody about Norm.
All right. Yeah, he actually got to 40, and he won the last 2 back-to-back, and I can't remember, he beat Belmo for one of them. I can't remember who he beat, but he beat a bunch of huge names there. I think one of them, he ran the ladder. I'd have to go back and check. I'm sure that I'm sure that James is on it here in the chat, but yeah, his last two were really impressive, actually.
He's 53 years old when he won his last two, right?
Yeah, it's just been a couple of years. It's just been a couple of years. So yeah, he had a couple, like I said, great weeks back to back, and that's I don't know, 2-3 years ago. And then of course he almost had the one of Simo had to strike at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, Velmo and Simo were the last two that he beat for his last two titles. So.
Niffin's going to be on top of that.
Oh yeah.
He's on top. He's our show. I don't know how what would you call James? John Lander's in there all the time. James, statistician slash.
And half the time he doesn't even have to look this stuff up. He just somehow remembers it. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
That's scary. I see him. I mean, just right away. Yeah, actually, somebody just put something in the chat before we get Sam in here. Did you, Luke? Did you happen to see the 1900?
Yeah, 1900 Peterson, which is insane.
Okay, now did you see the story though?
No.
Okay, here's the story that I'm getting. They went through 8 games and 4 games of the next squad before realizing that it might have been the house pattern in there and not the Peterson pattern. So we're in for
the Peterson. I think that you ought to check something out.
Yeah, they're in for a mess. It's going to get ugly, and I don't know all the details, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But yeah, I think after the guy went 2-0, 250, 260, you might think, hey, well, something's up. But anyway, they let him finish.
Slow down here. But.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see if we get any more information on that. How they're going to handle that. I know they're saying they're DQing him, but what did he do wrong?
Yeah. Why would they DQ him?
Yeah. So strange situation there. Clint Harris, thanks for bringing that up. I don't believe that's going to be a score that's going to be allowed, but we'll check on Mr. Armstrong. I believe I've seen on Facebook talking a little bit about it. So if we get an update on that, we'll give it to you. But Luke, let's go ahead and bring in our first guest.
Yeah. Let's pop him in here.
He deserves no introduction, so we're not going to give him one. Apparently, Sam is just in here. Sam, are you in? Looks like you're in some sort of man cave right there.
Yeah, just a little game room we've got at the house. Just kind of nice little quiet getaway from the family.
Well, yeah, it looks comfy.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Are you soaking all this in? Does this kind of seem real still? I know you didn't quite finish off what you wanted to do there at the end, but has it all sunk in yet? Let's ask you that right off.
Yeah, I guess. It's very humbling getting all those messages, text messages on Facebook, everybody reaching out, phone calls. Kind of has sunk in, but it's not 100% yet. Once the tournament's over, and if I finish in the top 3, or tied for second, top 3, top 5, then that's when it'll really set in. Right now, I'm still kind of just enjoying the moment, but I haven't checked the scoreboard yet, so I don't know if I'm still in second. That's the God's honest truth. I know Nathan Bohr bowled really good last night or this morning. I saw on Facebook. They said he averaged over 260 in doubles and singles, which is...
Yeah, it was 811 is what he shot.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, you're...
So, but, I know I talked with Alex a little bit about checking the scoreboard, and honestly, I don't want to try to get too much into it. I don't want to stress at all. Once the tournament's over, I think is when everything will all set in.
Well, it's funny you're talking about the scoreboard. You shot 835. You would think in a normal year that you wouldn't have to really be much of a scoreboard watcher. Maybe a little bit. Somebody starts off like Nathan did, or even like yourself. But I mean, generally it sounds like you're not a scoreboard watcher. But it's just, I don't know. It seems funny that we're even talking about scoreboard watching when you shot 835 at nationals.
Right. I know in years past, 835's been pretty good for an eagle, and this year not not so fortunate. Alex bowled amazing. And then I know I'm tied with a gentleman, and I don't remember his name. After I ran away Brooklyn to leave the 5-6, and I got one. I honestly had no idea what even second place was. So as we were walking out, and the names were scrolling on the scoreboard, is when they're like, "Hey, look, you're in second." And I'm like, "That's pretty cool." So of course, I took a picture of it, and we drove straight through last night from Vegas back to my buddy lives in Winfield, Kansas, and we drove back, and so it was kind of a drive sleep kind of deal. So probably in the next day or two, I'll put a post on Facebook, just kind of thanking everybody and just kind of what was going through my mind at the time.
Okay, well let's talk a little bit about that. You get off to a rocky start in doubles. We'll just leave it at that. And apparently you were working your way through some equipment or whatever. We want to talk about that also.
Okay.
But talk about the transition, obviously, from doubles, and I'll say your score out loud. I think it was
539.
539 is the correct score. Scott Patke is the gentleman you tied for second place also, but you shoot 539. You're working your way through the third game. What changed for you? What did you do different? Was it equipment? Was it hand position, whatever, or you just stopped being a knucklehead at the time?
Honestly, what changed is I had a mark in the first frame. Team event, I missed a 9-pin to start the day, and then doubles and doubles, I chopped the 3-9. So, and it wasn't that they were hard splits. They were very easy makeables, and no. So in doubles, I bowled the Bowler's Journal, and everybody said they were pretty close, and I didn't want to say that I took that information going in, but it was definitely in the back of my mind. So I started with the ball that I used at the Bowler's Journal, and there was so much more. It seemed more friction. Just the ball kept hooking left and going left, and so I went to the Motive Alpha Jackal, which I had a fresh 1,000 grit on. So I balled up, went to more surface, and it kind of it blended everything out about midway through game 2. And it felt like I was coming off the ball, or the ball was coming off my hand real well. And I had some unfortunate breaks in doubles towards the end, but I felt like everything was starting to come together. And, again, starting game 1 of singles, I joked with the guys about it. I said, well, it came out after the first frame. I said, we're in for something big here, because I got a spare. So, to come out, I think, what was it, 25 or 26 in a row. It was just, if somebody would have said that I would have done that, I would have lost a lot of money, because I would have never guessed in a million years to have 26, I believe.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
Especially coming off of a 539. So I had my double set beat after, I think, 18 frames of singles.
That's funny. So you go spare, like you said, that apparently loosened you up enough to where you threw the next 26. Now you've got 26 in a row, and I know it's hard to kind of go back shot for shot, but after you finished off the 300, you have 590, and you're in range. But how much of it? How were you thinking? Because I know, like, I'll bring up Southwest now. When I had the front 18 there, I wasn't thinking 900, but I was thinking about the lead. So
Right.
At what point do you think it was starting to hit you that, hey, not only did I just shoot 300 at Nationals along with the 300 at the Bowler's Journal, but I have a legit shot here to get to the singles lead?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I've had quite a few 300s, and going back to the Bowler's Journal on Tuesday, was bowling with a great buddy, Kevin Andes, and we were just kind of hanging out and shooting the breeze while we were bowling. And I got up in the 10th, and I'm not going to lie, I was pretty nervous, even though I've had quite a few of them, and because I've never done it on that stage. And then going back to the Open Championships, and we got the front 9, and the nerves were, I think, even more elevated than they were Tuesday night, and just tried to take, deep breaths, not to sound cliche, but, just one shot at a time. But after finishing off the 300, I was shaking, was nervous. I got up and I finished on the right lane, I do believe. And I threw my first ball of game 3 on the left lane. So I even bowled on the wrong lane. So it really felt like it was my first time bowling. But, I joked with the guys. I said they told us no more practice balls, but I just had to make sure that the line didn't go away after the 300. So kind of snuck one in. No, not really. But, but to get back on task, to have a chance at the lead after it kind of set in right away, right after that 300, knowing that I had the ball was coming off my hand really great. I did catch some breaks. I'd get the ball a little further right, and I'd send a head pin off the wall, or I'd roll a 4-pin forward once. So to have a really legitimate chance at the lead was starting to set in right after. Even before the other guys finished game 2, just started setting in, nerves kicked in. And then after about 2 or 3 frames, I kind of settled back down. And then once I settled down is when I missed. Maybe I shouldn't have settled down. But I was just happy that I made the spare. Hadn't shot one in a while. And given the previous spare attempts and team event and doubles, I was like, God, just leave something I can make. And then I think it was the 8th frame. I left a 9-pin, and I spared it, and I said, okay, I know I need the next 4 to tie Alex. At that point, I knew the record with Bo Gorgon was out the window, but still knew that I needed all 4 to tie for an eagle. And I was talking to Paul and Rick Manier, good buddies of mine from Houston. They were bowling the team squad afterwards, and I came back after the 9th frame, was getting back to bowling the 10th frame, and I was like, was that 9-pin really that bad? Was I slow? And they said, no, it looked good. So, I just went back up, and I thought I threw the first one pretty good, and then the second one in the 10th, the nerves really got the best of me. I gave the ball 0 chance. To leave the 5-6 was very fortunate. I'm just glad I touched the head pin. And then, I'm not going to say that I didn't try on the spare, but I was really just trying to get out of the way, try to soak it all in, not knowing, again, what second place was. Not saying that I didn't try for it, but I might have given it a little more effort to make the spare to not be tied. But at the same time, kind of glad I didn't know, because if I would have been super nervous, I probably would have flagged it all together and be sitting in 3rd instead of tied for 2nd.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you with one thing here before I flip it over to Luke. Most of my strikes over the 9 games were runaway Brooklyn, so you gave it more than 0% chance. Actually, to be honest, I had a good look in singles. I went 9 out, spare 5-bagger, and thought, hey, I've got stand left, throw right now, and that kind of went away. But anyway, Sam, great bowling. Luke's going to give you a couple of questions here before we let you get out of here.
Okay. Oh, and one thing, the first ball in the 10th of that 290 was a runaway Brooklyn, but after doubles in between singles, one of the guys that I bowled with, his wife was, do you need anything? I said, yeah, if you can go down to that hot dog stand, I'd really enjoy a hot dog before starting singles off.
It's about time we got a hot dog reference in the show. And I'm not gonna lie, I will be glad when Nationals is over and I stop getting tagged in every other day, seemingly, if not worse, in hot dog posts. But I appreciate you bringing that up, and I know that's a big, it's a big thing for people when they go out there. That they're more interested in that than the bowling sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Something else, you mentioned that so this isn't the first time you've made a run at something. You said you finished 12th in all events last year, so you're not any stranger to stage, I guess. I mean, it's a different kind of thing rather than just shooting a really big set, but still 12th in all events is still getting something done. So I'm gonna pull Alex in here for a minute. We got Alex in here early, so I'm going to pull him in here for a minute. You guys actually both went to Newman, so there's a Newman connection going on here. And of course, Alex, you were sweating a little bit because it was just a couple days before.
Oh yeah.
When you shot the 848, and then you got this guy right behind you. So, what do you guys think here?
Selfishly, I'm glad he got tapped twice the last game. Because then we had a chance to tie, and that's what I wanted in the end. It would have been really cool to tie a really good friend to hopefully win an Eagle in 10 days.
Yeah, that would have been cool for both of you to do it. And so, I mean, the score's a little bit higher this year, and so you think that normally 830s winning an Eagle most of the time, but even so, I mean, you guys both had to bowl really, really well to get to your scores. So whether the scoring pace is a little bit higher, a little bit lower, you both bowled really well, and I would have to think that you would both still have huge scores up there. Because I mean, the 848 is one of the top 5 single scores ever, and 835 is one of the top scores ever, period. So how, Sam, since we've got you on here, what do you think about just the consistency and just the execution that you were able to put out there?
I mean, it's definitely mind blowing. It's definitely a lot different than league. You can get away with so much in league. So the execution at nationals or other different tournaments with tougher patterns, you really have to be sharp and on your game. It again sounds so cliche, but just one shot at a time is really the key there, and patience. A lot of bowlers don't have patience, myself included, especially in league bowling and things like that. But just trying to stay in the moment, execution, patience, all of that really is something that you have to have, and to be able to put up any kind of number at nationals or a different tournament, whether it's PBA tournament or some kind of challenge pattern. The Peterson's one of them. I don't know. I'm still at a loss for words, honestly.
Yeah, and the other thing too, you kind of touched on this, but having such huge numbers after game 2 makes that third game even so much longer. I mean, you're already at nationals, you shoot a couple huge games, and so people say, well, I don't really think about it. Maybe in league you don't think about something like that, but at nationals it's definitely on the brain. So, and Alex, I know we'll catch you here when you have your spot here in a little bit, but how long was that third game for? I mean, for both of you, really.
It was pretty long. I actually bowled on the high end, and for those who haven't bowled there, they have the record banners hanging on the low end. So every time I turned around, I could see Bo's 862 hanging up in the rafters. So there's a reminder every time I walk back. And I was well aware of what I could get to. So that would have been for sure what I was going after. So that last game took a pretty long while.
Yeah.
Try seeing it every time you step up to go up to throw a shot.
I'm a little too short for that.
All right. Well, those are some. You have to feel good about being this close to the end of the tournament. I had a buddy that won in singles in Knoxville in 2003, and he shot 837, but he bowled in like early May, and so they spent like two and a half months watching the scoreboard. And so I'm sure it's going to be a long enough next 7-8 days here, but. You got to feel pretty good about no matter what happens. You got to feel really, really good about the numbers you guys put up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, we were talking to Sam Swinford, and we also happen to have Alex George on here early for a treat. We're going to pop you guys out and see you here in a little bit. Sam, thanks a bunch for hanging out. Dave, you got any parting words here?
Let's give Sam a couple of seconds here. We want to do this with every guest today when on their way out. Okay. Sam, you have any Norm Duke story you want to share with us today?
I never got the chance to meet Norm personally. Just fondest memories you guys touched on at the beginning of the show. One of them, shooting 300 against Walter Ray, was definitely one of them that are up there because I'm not a big Walter Ray fan. Sorry if I offend anyone there, but just watching him seemed like every weekend growing up, or at least once a month. Just seeing him really play the game, love the game, is his fierce competitiveness. Something that I will always remember. He never seemed out of it. Never seemed upset when he lost. I mean, nobody is ever happy when they lose, but he was always he was a great showman, great sportsman. Definitely one of the ambassadors of the game.
All right. Very well said. Sam, once again, thanks for coming on the Bowler Show. You deserve this spot. Unfortunately, you didn't quite get to the lead, but you're tied for second. And anytime you can leave the USBC Open Championships in any event tied for second, that's an awesome experience. And, of course, having the chance to get to the Eagle, that's something, one in 100,000 bowlers ever get. So congratulations once again, and continued success, sir.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, Luke. Always a pleasure. Dave, it's good talking to you again. Just you guys touched on it. Went to Newman, so thanks Billy Murphy and all the coaching that I had for 4 years there. Bolify for sponsorship. Greatest feeling jerseys out there. I don't have a ball contract yet, but hopefully something's in the works somewhere. Just thanks for having me, guys. And if you guys ever need a spot filled in the future, hopefully you'll reach out.
Heck yeah.
All right, Sam. Take care, sir.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Luke. This is a good start to the show. I kind of like these shows. They're the guy that bowls our stuff here in town occasionally. I don't know if you've had a chance to bowl one of our tournaments when he was, but Sam, is full disclosure, is on my Greater Ozarks group and also in our Southwest group for Wichita. So I've dealt with Sam a lot, and we kidded about when I had the front 18 and he was there, and me inspiring him to do what he did. But he deserved the spotlight with that, and 835. That's pretty impressive with 26 in a row at nationals.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. What it'll sink in when he gets that check too. So.
Yeah, he's told me earlier he wasn't much of a scoreboard watcher, but I would imagine towards the end, especially with guys like you that haven't bowled yet, which we should have brought up to those two guys that they better.
He's not going to have to worry about me.
That would be like having to worry about me, and I'm still bowling with my original hand. So
yeah, Rhino and Trevor were bowling the next to last day or the next to last day. So
yeah, there's still a few guys up there.
They're left-handed, so.
Exactly. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in our next guest. I know she's waiting patiently in the queue, and I appreciate her waiting a few minutes. So we cleaned up Sam and Alex there, and we'll have Alex on here in a little bit. But for now, let's bring in the communications manager. Also, I call her like the cruise director, social media director. Her name's Blair Blumenscheid for Storm. Blair, welcome to the Bowler Show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be back on the Bowler Show. I'm glad it's back. It's awesome that you guys brought this back. So thank you. It's a great service to the bowlers.
Well, we appreciate you saying that. It's kind of why I brought it back. It was time. We had a little hiatus, and we see you every day or most days on the Morning Bolt, the days that we can get in there and chat. So now we're going to start putting you on the spot here, and we'll have some fun with you today.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start and tell people what some of your main jobs are with Storm.
Yeah, so I work in the marketing department. I do a lot with social media, digital marketing. Any campaigns that you kind of see going through any of the Storm channels, social media. So right now we have the Guess the Scent contest going on with the Infinite Physics. So if you haven't picked up an Infinite Physics yet, and just in any pro shop, you just have to pick it off the shelf and take a smell and see what it smells like, and then you're entered to win one. So anything like that you might see. And then we also do quite a few live streams now. A lot of our tournament sponsorships, we add some value by live streaming some of the events. So like this weekend, we went down to Texas and we were live streaming the Platinum Ford Open, where somebody took home a brand new Ford Bronco. Shake that off. And it was really cool. Like they qualified through league. So basically you paid $5 to enter or to be entered because Platinum Ford partnered with the North Central Texas USBC. And so it was like this whole big qualifier. They did a finals, then they did a super finals. So the top 64 showed up and they did an eliminator format and someone won a car. It's just mind-boggling. Like he literally drove off in his brand new car. So those are, it's pretty much, I do a little bit of everything, but mostly marketing. We'll leave it at that.
Well, with that, of course, times have changed over the years. Social media is the easiest way to reach people right now. How valuable of a tool is that? I know how valuable it is for me running tournaments, just being in contact with people. But talk about the difference here nowadays, how important social media is to getting the word out about Storm.
It is insanely important for every business to have social media. I know Luke and I talk about this a lot, right? So social media for Storm is huge. From a brand standpoint, we try to be pretty organic and authentic, and we want to connect directly with our customers. So when you reach out to the Storm channels, you're actually talking to a person. You're never just talking to like a robot, or we try to keep stuff not automated. For our staff that represent us, it's so important because they're another arm of a way that bowlers can find out about our products through the staff. And again, it's authentic, right? We don't tell any of our staff what to say. So what you see on social media from anybody that represents Storm, or even anyone that just loves Storm, you can get a true sense of the products and how they feel about it, because it's really what they think. We're not in it to tell, Luke, we don't tell Luke ever what to say, right, Luke?
Yeah, right. And that's something I was going to point out was that people likes to say, oh, you're staffers, you have to talk the stuff up and you have to whatever else. And I've definitely poked the bear and pushed some boundaries before. And I've literally never had anybody, I've been on staff for 7 or 8 years now, and I have not had somebody reach out and say, hey, could you take that video down, or could you take that post down, or something like that. There's been some, you might want to correct this, or you had the wrong information, or where'd you get that from, or whatever else. But there's no coaching, they don't write our reviews for us and send them out to us and say, hey, here's this, put this on Facebook. Everything that we're saying is they just say, go out there and, be smart about it, but tell them what you think.
Yeah. And then David, like you said, it has changed so much, right? So, if I think back to when I started learning about social media, which was a very long time ago, when I was in college, right? I'm reminded daily with these kids how old I really am now. But when I was learning about social media, it's nothing like it is today. So for a business, for pro shops, or if you have a small business or anything, having the basic social media is like having a website 10 years ago. So if you're not on just a Facebook, which is that's the largest consumed social media network. It might not be your favorite, and it's not really anyone's favorite anymore, I don't think, but everybody's on Facebook. So if you're going to start anywhere, you start with Facebook, and then you can add from there. So
now you talked about it. You got a lot of staffers. You got Norm Duke. You got Luke Rosedal. You got myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And this will be Luke's favorite question because I ask this all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, who is your favorite staffer to deal with, and who is your least favorite staffer to deal with?
I'll see myself out now.
Every once in a while, somebody answers a second, but you're under no obligation to do that.
That's such a hard question for me because I deal with so many staff at so many different levels. Like I can't even, it changes daily. I mean, I literally I'll have a favorite, like this week, someone will be like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Right. So, and then the next week it'll be like, oh, wait a minute. what did they just do? But, I would say at Storm, one of our favorite national staffers because of the way that he really just looks at our team and tries to bring them together. And then also looks at, at the end of the day, the people that work for Storm, some of us because we get out onto the shows, but there are a lot of employees at the plant that you don't know. And those are the ones that are really making the bowling balls and working really hard around the clock in a very hard job to make sure that you have a product that's number one in the industry. So BJ Moore last year around Christmas reached out to all the national team and actually bought the whole plant a lunch for Christmas. And so he headed that up, and he called me when he had this idea, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're doing what? Like how did you think of this? And he's like, well, you guys give us so much throughout the year, and not everybody gets to see us and gets to know us, and we want to make sure that they're appreciated. So I would say BJ's up there in terms of staffers on the national tour. But like I said, I mean, it really does change weekly. Like this week, I'm going to be working with quite a few staffers at Junior Gold. And I think anybody that spends their time with the kids, they're way up there because they're giving back and they're connecting with those kids at a level that, I mean, some of them are just getting started with tournament bowling. And you just don't know the impact that you're making in a 5-minute interaction with those kids. So it's it's hard to pick. And then my least favorite. Should I say Luke? Oh, wait. He even removed himself.
Luke has left the chat.
He just took himself off.
Actually, I don't think and this is honest. This is not just I'm saying this. I'm not sure I have a least favorite staffer. I think everybody has strengths. And I think that sometimes people do have ways that they can improve. But I can always look at and we talk about this with the regional sales managers, right? Some of our pro shop operators are not very active on social media, but they're incredibly engaging in the shop with their customers, and they're busy around the clock and they don't have time to add social media. Yeah. So how can I be mad at them that they're not engaging on social media? They're engaging in real life, which is great. So I think everyone has their strengths, and I don't really have at least right now, I don't have it. Maybe ask me next time I'm on. There might be someone.
Well, now I feel bad about BJ Moore because I once brought out a thank you card to one of my visits out there, and I gave it to Bill and Barbara, and it was for everybody at the plant. So all I did was bring out a card, but at least I did that. But I certainly wouldn't have thought to buy everybody lunch at the plant dinner, which is pretty cool.
Well, and I'm not telling that story so that everyone buys us lunch. Listen, we can buy ourselves lunch, but it's just, even giving a card, and even some people don't know this, but in our office, actually, most people don't know this. In our office, we have a giant bulletin board, and we hang up every single thank you note that ever comes into Storm. So even writing a simple thank you note, like if you received a bowling ball through a tournament group, like, you know, one of the free certificate bowling balls, if you read a thank you note, we hang that up in our office, and we'll keep it up there forever. So that's something to kind of remember. Yeah, Starbucks. I like the Starbucks. I'm trying to read the chat too.
Yep, Starbucks is key.
Yeah. Starbucks is key always.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, can I answer the TikTok question?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right. Okay, that's our House Hack Bowling, which I know we've had some chats with House Hack Bowling, so hello again. We do have all of our brands have TikTok channels saved, or at least the username has been claimed for 900 Global Roto Grip and Storm. I do not have a date when those TikTok channels will start, but it could be any day. It's any day now. It's just another thing to manage. So who knows?
Yeah, you got time though, right?
And that's what you need.
Nothing.
Oh. Well, let's wrap that up real quick, Blair. I'll make it real easy. Yes or no? Has Luke or I ever made your favorite or least favorite list?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Luke, don't remove yourself. You have. I can't remember why, but I remember actually saying in the office that one week, like, Luke did something really great. I can't remember why.
I've probably been on both lists at one time or another, but
yeah.
I nominated him for Staffer of the Month, which he won. And I'll say this out loud, and you know he hasn't paid me. He does a really good job with everything. Like you said, staffers have strengths and have weaknesses. Mine is when somebody says, hey, is that ball an asym or a symmetrical? I'm like, well, let me text Luke real quick. I'm terrible at that part. I've got my strengths in other areas with the show and with our tournaments and stuff. But Luke does a really good job. And as you've seen in his videos, he doesn't always say, oh, this ball, goes long and hits hard. It's the greatest ball in the history of bowling. He'll tell you his thoughts and if it fits into his bag and where it might fit into another person's bag if he doesn't technically love that ball at the time.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys are spending your Sunday nights talking about bowling and promoting bowling, that's enough to make my list of like awesome staffers, because that's a huge service to the sport. And, we started doing the live shows in the pandemic because we realized, man, we have to connect this community because bowling is such like your friends are there. Like these are our buddies. Like, and if you can't see them all the time, at least you can pop in and say, hey, in a live stream. And then we get to say hi to you and tell you something. So yeah, I think you guys do a great job. So.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. With that, I've had enough interaction with you for now. We're going to send it over to Luke as long as he wants to stay on screen, and we'll let him take over for.
These aren't even that hard of questions. I mean, I guess I deferred the not favorite staffer, but
everybody does that. So.
Yeah.
This has got to be cool though, because you didn't have to set the stream up, you don't have to run the stream, you don't have to babysit Gary.
I know. I feel like I'm really like relaxed right now. I'm like, I didn't schedule the guests. But I do like how you guys have the system set up. So
this is nice. I at some point might send you something for some extra tips, but this particular software makes it very simple to just do a very simple stream. And of course, you talk about the social media thing. It's not exactly like we're trying to find background songs for our MySpace pages anymore. So this is a little bit more technical than the boomers here can get into.
I know. I feel outdated sometimes too. Now these like reels and TikTok and all, like the kids are totally like, they'll come and tell me, they'll be like at the SYC, they'll be like, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm like, okay, we'll do it. I got it.
Okay, sure. Well.
Yeah. So I'm ready to just turn over one of these days. I'm just going to turn it over to like a 12-year-old and be like, all right, come on.
That's probably you might have to screen them before they go out. But at least.
Yeah. Some of these kids though, I will tell you, like on Fridays, if you watch the Morning Bowl, on Fridays, we have Brady, the bowling science kid, who does those awesome segments, which again, we do not tell him what to do or what to say. And him and his dad just film these segments out, and they're unbelievable. They're edited. They're like a short little burst of science. It's like Bill Nye the Science Guy, but a kid doing it. So it's awesome.
So what would you say is probably the most challenging thing about what you do day to day? Because you're normally at the SYCs, yeah. You go down to the military championships, so you fly all over the place half the time. Then you've got the morning bolt going. Then we have our own little internal update show for the staffers every week. And it's just multitasking. I don't know. I mean, you've got to have like a Starbucks black card or something, whatever you walk in there and say. But what's probably the most challenging thing about your day-to-day operations?
Yeah. Kind of what you started with, right? So especially right now, there's a lot of travel going on. And when we start traveling, it's keeping things on track. But we have a really great team in place and people that hold me accountable too. So they'll reach out and be like, hey, where is this? Or, hey, did we miss this? But I think the hardest thing for me is, like, I'm not a really great planner. I'm a good planner. I'm like, I like to have things, like, I like to have the strategy and the plan in place. But when it comes down to the really tiny details, I usually need some help with that. Like, someone needs to kind of come in and, all right, let's get everything going and moving. So we have a great team that everyone is in their strength. And so I kind of can make the big picture happen and look at it and go, okay, we have like Infinite Physics, for example. We have this mystery scent coming out. So we need to do this campaign. And then we build it out, and how long will it take, and what's the prizes and that kind of stuff. And then the finer details, I might need some help from someone else. So, but it really is it's a team effort. And if you're going into digital media, like anyone who is in college or you're at home and you're like, oh, I want to work in digital media, learn graphics, learn video. Those two things, no one told me that 10 years ago. And I don't think it was a thing 10 years ago, but those two things are key nowadays in that space.
Yeah, and with all the things that they do with TikTok, I mean, just for how big TikTok is, and then the reels on Instagram, which are kind of like TikTok, but
your lights are telling you that your
lights still stayed up. I was just glad that you didn't say the most difficult thing was reading through one of my emails, but
no. Well, I would say staying on top of emails might be one of my difficult things. So I usually try to stay updated, but
hashtag email Megan.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. So we have this team in place, right? So in our, we joke on our Tuesday staff shows where it's like, okay, like we call it bingo, because it's like, okay, everyone, if you have a question, email Megan. But the reason we do that is, say that I had a question and I emailed Gary, and then I didn't get the answer in the amount of time that I was wanting it. So then I went and I emailed Leanne, and then I didn't get an answer from her. And so I went and emailed Blair, and then I went and emailed Megan, and Megan answered it right away. But then Blair, Gary, and Leanne might get to the email the next day. So having that great team in place and having a nice funnel of communication really helps everybody. And I'm just so thankful to work for Storm and have such great people around me. And it's really a great place to work. So.
Yep. Well, I think that's about all I got until the next time I have a little freak out moment about something. So
I love your emails though. I actually, like, when I get them, usually they're either asking me something from an angle I've never thought about ever, or you're telling me something that I'm like, yep, we need to do that. like you're just reinforcing, and that would be another thing that's hard about my job. It's like sometimes I know the next step we need to take, but I just don't have the time to do it right now. And it's on my list, right? Like I know that the SYC, the kids want more pairs on live stream.
Mm-hmm.
How to do that? We have not figured that out yet. So
yeah, logistics are tricky sometimes, and sometimes stuff just doesn't work out, and we don't live in an ideal world. And it's like, ideally, in a perfect world, let's do this, this, and this. And
right.
I don't drink a lot of caffeine, but my hamsters do. So
yeah, well, what's in your coffee mug? I saw you drinking it earlier. I'm I thought it was a late show. I have a water.
Blackberry tea.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah. So.
All right, Blair. Before we let you go, we'll completely wrap that up. But basically, what you're saying is Luke is your neediest staffer, and I'm your least neediest. So we'll just leave it at that.
Oh dear.
I mean, I never have. I'm the unknown staffer. I do what I do separately, and I really like Brett Cooper. I might talk to him once or twice a year, and I don't have to work with him too much, but. And that's what
He's
we have.
He's a cool one, though. I just spent the weekend with him. He is like the guy that you want to go and have lunch with or have a coffee with or have a drink. Are we allowed to say drink on the show?
You can.
I'm used to
on YouTube.
Now.
Are we allowed to say drink on this show?
Well, let's see. What's what are you moving off screen there? Yeah, we are allowed to say anything. Yeah, we've had a couple of guests let a couple of words slip, and that's just going to happen on here. But real quick, before we let you go, speaking of cool people, take a moment and tell people some of the dealings you've had with Norm Duke and maybe a special memory you've had with Norm.
Yeah, Norm is exactly how you would imagine working with Norm is exactly how you would imagine working with Norm. He is all about bowling. He is so thankful for what bowling has given him in his life. And he's always so willing to give back. And he truly, at the end of the day, a professional athlete, it's in some way, in some role, is an entertainer. And he's always aware of that. And so when he works in an event or when he does a video for us or he does any promotion, he knows that part of this is entertaining. And so that's why you get to see the videos that are like so great. I mean, every time we watch a Norm video, like he'll just send one in from his phone and we'll all just sit around the little phone and be like, that was awesome. Like, that was so great. We can't wait to show the fans like what he just sent in. So he's definitely one of my favorites to work with. And yeah, he is retiring. So the rumor that started on Friday, totally true. He is not retiring from working events, though. I think that's the important part. And he did mention that in the PBA press release. He still wants to kind of make appearances, like an athlete when they retire. Like he'll make appearances. He'll go to events, and he's going to work Junior Gold this week. So if you're at Junior Gold, you'll actually be able to see Norm Duke this week. So he's great. I think one of my favorite, you asked me earlier, like, think of a favorite Norm story. And it's like, there's so many, but I think like if I identified the first time that I really worked with Norm, and I was really nervous, like I was just a kid. I was like 24 years old. And like, I thought I knew what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was filming all the guys. They were at the Players Championship in Columbus, and they were all bowling, and we're trying to get like a shot from each of them in practice for the Storm page. And I'm videoing Norm, and I cut the video before he walked back because I was just focused on getting the shot. And he turned around and he did this, like one of those Norm moves. Like he was just like punching something or like doing something elaborate. And I cut the video, and I looked at him and I went, I stopped the video. And he's like, you never stopped the video on me. And I'm like, you're right. So every time that I do that now, like I'll catch myself every once in a while. I'll be like, I'll stop a video after a bowler lets go of something. And I'll be like, Norm told me never stop the video. Like I just missed something cool that would have been something. So there's another tip. When you're filming stuff, don't let let the video roll until they walk back. You can always trim it, but you never know what you'll catch. So Norm taught me that.
Hey, you did an interview with me at the Storm Factory on the lanes there, and kind of an impromptu moment right towards the end. Leanne was practicing next to me, which was one of my greatest moments of my life. And she came over, and I believe it was the IQ Emerald she had in her hand at the time, and said, "Hey, this is, I love this ball." And that, just catching that moment, that reminded me what you were talking about there about keeping the camera rolling. You never know. So.
Yep. And forever, Norm will have been the one to teach me that. So.
A lot of good stories about Norm. All right, Luke, you got anything else for Blair before we let her get back to her regular life?
No, I was just going to say it's kind of nice to have a little chat here, because most of the time when we talk, it's emails back and forth about business stuff, or hey, can you help me out with this, or hey, I'm having a freak out moment about this, or whatever else. So it's nice to kind of just, hey, we're just talking. There's no there's no anything going on. So it's just nice to have a few minutes here.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I would say for anybody, if you see anyone from Storm at an event, or Luke, if you're ever in the building with me, and David, this too. You guys come say hi to us. Like, we are people. We really are. Like, we will talk to you about puppies. And then if you want to talk about bowling, we'll talk to you about bowling too, I promise. But we're just normal. We're just people. We're doing what we look at. Yes.
I got plenty of dog pictures too. So
we
can hook that up.
Every live show is not complete without a pet appearance. I truly believe that. So well placed. But anyway, so that's what I would say. And then watch the Morning Bowl. Always watch the Morning Bowl. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have shortened our schedule. Well, not shortened, but we're not every day. We're Monday, Wednesday, Fridays now. Tomorrow, Tim Mack, who is traveling, should be calling in and popping through. So if you want to see the energy that is Tim Mack in the morning, pop on by. But
all right, Luke, did you hit that button on purpose? I don't know if they had questions for Blair.
I thought there was another dog. I thought we were getting another dog appearance.
Well, Luke has 3 dogs in his house that are all, we'll just say, large dogs that usually are around there, but he takes them out for the show. Usually Luke and I are on site together. We've decided I'm an hour and a half away from Luke, so we're giving this a try to see if we can do the show like this. As I said, we did the show from Las Vegas in Aaron Smith's office, so we got that done. So it looks like the technology is great, and this is something we're going to be doing here from now on.
It's 2022. Technology's officially smarter than us.
Well, I've got a radio background. I'm used to sitting next to the board op or whatever and signaling them, going longer, shorter, whatever. And I'm used to sitting next to Luke and writing little notes. And Luke had had enough. He's like, just get out of here. You don't have to drive out of here. Speaking of dogs,
there's a dog.
There's a dog. So
we
right,
lost Luke's sound.
You lost your sound. There's the dog. You know what that dog's name is, Blair?
No, I don't.
His name is Stormy.
That's Stormy.
That's Stormy.
Oh, I didn't know you have a Stormy. I did know that. I didn't know what Stormy looked like, but all right. Well, you better get rid of me so you can get on to the other guests, right?
Yeah, let's do that. Luke, you lead her out and you bring us to commercial. Blair, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. We'll touch base again in the fall when more stuff is happening.
Sounds good. All right, look. There she goes. All right. Actually, I've lost the sound. Oh, there you go, Luke.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you let the boomer run the board or whatever. 40 years old now. I went to type something in the chat box, but my cursor wasn't in the chat box, and so it was a bunch of hotkeys for. So I'm glad that, fortunately enough, there weren't any interesting extracurricular things going on in the backgrounds of some of those windows that I just arbitrarily popped up. So
I thought you had Sam and Alex in there to ask they wanted to move from motive to storm or something.
No, we're back. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Movie quotes. Never mind. All right. So I think I'll go on ahead and play. Our sponsor clip, and then we'll be back on the other side.
Bobby Jackson's Trading is the place to sell all your unwanted precious metals, including broken gold and silver jewelry. They also buy old silver and gold coins, so check them out for all your buying and selling needs. Also, did you know that Bobby Jackson's Trading pays top dollar for your unwanted gift cards? You know, the ones your grandma got you for Christmas? Bobby Jackson's Trading is located on 23rd Street, just 1 block east of Noland Road in Independence, Missouri. They're open 7 days a week. Check them out at bobbyjacksons.com or give Bob Foster a call at 816-463-1919. That's 816-463-1919.
Anything?
All right. Back to hour 2 of the Bowler Show. Luke, we're still we'll get through some of our kinks here back and forth on who's gonna lead off, who's gonna send people out, who's gonna do whatever, and we'll work on that. But I'm kind of watching a replay a little bit here. I don't know if you've got access to the bowling too, but I sure would like to see the end of this because there's a lot of good stuff happened that you and I had other stuff going on in life today and didn't get to see. So, but anyway, Blair does a really good job. I don't think she gets enough credit, and it seems like I see a lot of posts about Megan and stuff because the staffers are, technically getting their boxes on their porch from her. But Blair does a lot of great things for Storm and for us, and to be honest, to help us do our stuff easier.
Yeah, she's a pretty good resource for me because she is the social media manager, and so whenever I'm looking at trying to, I don't post on Instagram for say a whole lot, and so trying to figure out, okay, well, Instagram is kind of like you would want all the hashtags. On Facebook, you really only want a couple. And then on YouTube, how do you work, some of the algorithms as far as videos you post, how often you post, the length of the videos, all works into stuff. And so she's a whole lot more on top of that than I am. So she's a great resource for me to have to ask questions to. And also if I tend to fry out and lose my mind every once in a while. And so yeah, she'll kind of explain something, or if I have an issue with something, she's a great resource and knows a bunch of stuff. And so,
all right, well, enough about Blair. Let's move on to our next guest.
Oh yeah,
popped in earlier with us.
Yeah, I'll bring him in intentionally this time.
He had a great run at the Nationals. Those of you who haven't seen him already here on the show, we'll bring him back now. He has taken the lead in singles at the Open Championships. His name is Alex George. Alex, welcome to the Bowler Show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, this is your official entrance. I know we popped you in earlier, but for those who either didn't see you or didn't know exactly who you are, we wanted to give you the proper introduction. And as we asked Sam, and you heard, has any of this sunk in yet? I know we're waiting for another week and for Luke to roll through there and some other big names, but if this holds up, is this starting to sink in that you're a week away from an Eagle possibly?
Certainly so. I still have the scores on my phone, so every time there's a new singles and doubles squad, I have to go and check and make sure nobody's ahead of my pace yet. Yeah. Which made Sam bowling even more nerve-wracking. Just standing there watching the X's pile up as they go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, kind of trying to count the days down, but they're not going by any faster.
So Sam, he said, "Hey, I'm not really a scoreboard watcher." It kind of sounds like you're the exact opposite. You're watching, first frames for, hey, this guy just doubled, and you never know. So you're gonna have a nerve-wracking week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I like to be aware when I'm bowling and not bowling of scores, especially when I have the lead, or if I'm bowling a tournament, knowing what the cut number is or where I stand compared to the leaders. It has its benefits and detriments, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness you didn't bowl in May, or you'd be a nervous wreck by the end of it.
Oh, I wouldn't have any hair left. I don't have much to give.
All right, well, let's talk about the experience. Obviously, you just got through doing something, we all dream about, and very few ever even get to live, even have a chance after 2 games at something. But not only did you have a chance at the lead, you had a chance at the all-time record going into the 10th frame. Take us through that set. Take us through the doubles a little bit. Obviously, Sam shooting 539. He had no expectations at all.
Right.
What were your thoughts? Kind of talk through the transitions, maybe some equipment. What led to you being in that position?
I felt like I had a pretty good idea of what the lanes were doing. I mean, I shot 688 in doubles. I don't remember exactly what my 3 games were off the top of my head. But as we were going through it, I was like, you never think, oh, I'm going to shoot 848 and have a chance to beat one of the most ridiculous records in bowling.
Yeah.
And then I missed in the first. I turned around. I told my guy, the guys I was bowling with, was like, well, there went that strike pot.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So rattling off the next, I think 19 in a row. I've had the front 10 in Syracuse. So bowling 300 has always been a goal out there. So I got up in the 9th thinking it was the 10th. So it's like, okay, I need 3 here. And I just completely bottled it. And then struck out, knew I had 869 left. And I walked back, was like, hey, like, I don't care what's leading. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Because the number in my head was to get to 862, and I knew that was the lead if I beat that.
Yeah.
And I step up in the 10th knowing, like, full well I could do it. And sadly, the first one was just a little miss and spin off my hand, and it wasn't as crisp as the other 31 shots had been. So still had a chance, but not good enough chance, I guess.
Well, you had a very good chance. I know you'd probably carried a lot of those same light hits. You could tell by your reaction, you knew the number that you wanted to get to. Although you're leading for the eagle, and obviously that's an incredible achievement. You were thinking, as you said, Bo Gergen's 862 lifetime. That would be something that may never ever get broken in the next whatever years. So, what were you? I know it's hard to put this into words, but what were you thinking right? Let's say they showed the video of the 9th where, you struck and you came back and you could tell you were pumped up. At that point, are you, in your head at least, trying to get your reaction versus Sam's, in your head, when you got up in the 10th frame, knowing what you needed to do, I mean, nervous, not nervous, focused on the task, what were your thoughts at that time?
Oh, there's always nerves in those kind of situations, always. But throughout all 3 of those games, after I'd strike and I'd walk back, take a sip of Gatorade, and then just go sit down and try to think about, watching my buddies bowl, thinking about anything other than the result at the end and trying to focus more on the process. So when I got up for the 10th, I was more into my routine and just trying to focus on making a good shot. And that's all that was in my head as I made that shot.
All right, talk a little bit about the equipment used during the week and especially during singles.
Well, in doubles and singles, sitting right here, I threw this bad boy. It's a Tank Blitz by Motive. They don't make it anymore. Probably a good thing for me. It literally was the last ball to make the trip. I had the other 5 figured out, and I bowled a sports shot league at Seneca in Wichita, and all the other urethane-like balls I had sucked. They had no chance. Striking on 33 feet, let alone whatever we're bowling on out there. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to take this one. We see what happens. And I threw it all 6 games. And, other than just moving my feet some and changing how I let go of it, it did the task I asked it to do.
All right, well, take us back to your days at Newman. We talked to Sam a little bit about his time at Newman. Talk a little bit about your coaches and maybe some of the guys that prepped you for this moment.
Well, first, Billy Murphy, Chad's older brother, the better brother, if you ask me. He started the program, I think, in 03, 04. I've known him since I was born, since I've been in the bowling center at North Rock, basically since I could crawl. He always believed in me and thought I could be really good, if not great, and pushed me to do that. Justin Crumley, also an alum from Newman, coached me in high school and then coached me in my junior and senior year. Same thing, pushing me to be the best I can be. And then a couple of guys I bowled with, Austin Bolds being one of them. He's always helped me, always been like an older brother to me, and they've helped me a long way into getting who I am now.
Well, that's cool because you're mentioning a lot of guys that bowl our tournaments here in town, the Kansas City tournaments. Throw us a shout out. Any of our tournaments helped some of your preparation? I know not for this specific moment, but does that help you in tournaments?
Absolutely. Like just bowling anything where there's competition involved, whether we're bowling for $100, $1,000, or for me to say I beat you. And any kind of competition I just love and find it as good practice.
Okay, I'm sure you got a ton of messages, during, after, and did Bo Gergen reach out to you at all? Did he say?
He didn't. He did comment. I think Justin Bowie tagged him in my post and was like, I think Bo was a little nervous, and he actually didn't know till he got off work that he almost was no longer the record holder and was going to have to change his email username.
That's funny. Bo's a guy, I believe it or not, I grew up bowling junior leagues with and never even knew, once he became famous for what he's done, didn't even really realize he was bowling in a center that was across the state line. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what do you do from here, Alex? I know have you bowled some regionals? You want to be compete on the national tour? What's your thoughts from here?
I mean, I'm going to continue to bowl the regionals. I have my little title right there. My only one so far as a member.
Oh, awesome.
Hoping to find a way to bowl on the national tour full time. That's kind of the goal and the dream. I've always wanted to be a professional bowler since I was probably like 3 or 4, and trying to pursue that dream it's tough, but it's definitely rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's something, as I said at the start, we all dream about, but only a few get a chance at. And seeing local guys, yourself and Sam having these shots, and it's funny because I was alerted, I should say, about Sam's. I'm not sure how early you knew it, but I started seeing Facebook blow up, halfway through his second game, and I was like, oh boy, I got to go see who this is, because people weren't saying who it was, and then to find out somebody I knew, and then of course when you found out. Had to be kind of cool, but then also, like you said, had to be nerve-wracking.
Well, as a serial scoreboard watcher, I watched the 290 roll off, and I was like, well, I've bowled with Swinford in youth leagues. He's older than me, but enough younger still that I got a bowl against him growing up when he bowled at Newman, and I've known Sam to be the crusher of Alex George dreams, but also somebody that when he starts striking, he doesn't stop. So I wasn't surprised at all to see him turn 590, and I had chalked it off to me being second by the time he finished, to be honest with you. And about, I think probably the 9th or 10th frame of game 2, I got a text from Brandon Biondo that said, you should check the live scoring on 25 and 26.
He would do something like that.
Oh, yeah. So after he missed in the 8th, I called Biondo and was like, can you just tell me what happens in this 9th and 10th? Like, I don't want to watch the live scoring waiting for it. So it terrifying, to have no control over what he does.
Yeah, it's tough, but 848's a number. I mean, that's just a monster number, and you gotta, you always have the Ron Vokes thing in the back of your mind where it's like 850 is a number too, but
857 to be exact.
Yeah. I mean, that's, most of the time you're thinking on something like a tougher condition. That's that's 4 games, not 3. So, but I would think something else. It does have to be really cool, because I would think that you're the type of guy where everyone that heard the news had to be happy for you. You're just one of the nicest guys out there. You always seems like you're smiling. You're always happy. You're always, you're not too good to talk to anybody, and you just kind of go out there and you bowl and you have fun and you get into it and whatever else. And, we all know some of those people where it's like, kind of like, oh God,
that guy. Yeah.
That guy. But no, I mean, that has to be something that's really cool and really rewarding to think, yeah, everybody's happy for me. So, what's that like to think about?
Overwhelming. When I finished and looked at my phone and had like 40 text messages and Facebook messages and all these Facebook notifications, it was definitely overwhelming, but so appreciative at the same time. My parents raised me to try to be, the most decent person I could be. Sam, the most decent person I could be, and I always try to show positive emotion. Anybody that's seen me bowl knows that I'm very Norm Duke, Pete Weber-esque in terms of entertainment when I'm bowling, even in league. I like to run shots out and give them the fist pumps and slapping them out. But I try to also, I'm the first person that'll come congratulate you when you beat me. So to get all those texts and stuff has been so thankful and so heartwarming to me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, you only have a few more bullets to dodge. I'm at Austin Bowles is going down with my group here.
Austin and Toby Sambueno, I think.
Yeah, and then I don't know if Dylan Burns is bowling with Rhino and Trevor or not, but I know that Rhino and Trevor are going down there. Of course, they're left-handed, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully you only have to. It's only another week here, and I'm really rooting for you.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, that'd be so cool to have you can put your eagle up there, and I don't want to get ahead of yourself, but I think you're going to get it done. I think you're going to get it done. So that would.
I appreciate it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and cross your legs and arms and whatever else. Don't let Dave wasn't there to take a video of you, so that
probably helped a little bit. But I mean, I didn't shoot 300 either time I had a chance. So.
And that's another thing. 848 is a huge number to not have a 300 in. So.
All right, Alex. Before we let you go, you got a favorite Norm Duke memory?
I never got to interact with Norm a whole lot, but I think the favorite stories I've heard are when he was almost sick as a dog bowling Belmo at the Masters probably like 5-6 years ago. Belmo's crushing him, and Belmo looks at him and goes, I want to beat you, but not like this. And then Norm goes, buys an energy drink, and throws like 24 in a row at him or something silly to beat him. The 300's an awesome one. That moment's, immortal in bowling. And then probably him having back-to-back-to-back 300s with a lunch break in between. Games 2 and 3, I think that's absurd to me. He threw I think it was like 42 in a row because it started with like the back 4, 300, 300, 300, next 4. So that's just silly. I couldn't imagine striking that much for that long.
I couldn't either. So, all right, Alex, we will let you go once again. Good luck with the score.
Can I answer a question over here first?
Oh, yeah, sure. Good.
So, John, yes, I was on their staff for the last 2 years. I am not this year. I'm a free agent. If you saw my Facebook post, that hashtag was in there. But yes, Brett Spengler texted me immediately after and congratulate me and tell me how awesome it was. So
that's cool.
Oh, that's neat. I was thinking Luke had something for that earlier, but we didn't get to it. But I'm glad John brought that up. So, Alex, anything else? If not, we will let you go and we'll let you get to your scoreboard and watch it.
Not a whole lot. If any of you are looking for a college to go to, obviously look at Newman. We produce guys that strike a lot of nationals. So,
no kidding. We got a lot of Newman guys who bowl our tournaments. So
it's a great school and a great program, a bunch of great people.
All right. Well, Alex, you have a good night, and
thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. Well, we will have a show here sometime in August where we get all the Eagle winners on. So hopefully
I'm on it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Have a good night, man.
All right. Have a good one, gentlemen.
Thanks.
All right, Luke. That's another perspective there. It's kind of funny. The first guy with 835 is in second. Is like, somebody will let me know when the tournament's over, and they'll give me a watch or something next year. And then the other guy's like, I see somebody with a double on scores. I'm watching them. So kind of a neat perspective because different, everybody's different. I will never have that chance, but I think I'd be a scoreboard watcher. I'd be in between them. Not quite as strong as Alex is at it, but I would definitely be watching and not be like Sam. So, for guys like yourself, and I keep including you. You never know what might happen. That might be the greatest story ever happened to USBC if you shot 849 and did it with your opposite hand.
Yeah, I'm going to need a few extra games. I don't know. I've been struggling a little bit, but I did kind of figure out something a little bit yesterday at the tournament. So hopefully I at least won't embarrass myself. But I used to be a scoreboard watcher. I used to be somebody that go up to the standing sheets, and I'm sure that Mike, when he goes out there and puts the standing sheets, and everybody's hounding him for brackets and standing sheets and whatever else, I used to go up there and see where I was at. I don't really have to worry about where I'm at. I just go look on the second page, and I'll find myself down there somewhere. But
your worries are over.
I think as you get older, it does kind of, and some guys are just ice water. I mean, they don't even, what happens. I'll hit the all-in button and, have a bad day, packy, just shrug it off or something like that. But, that stuff always used to get me. And now I think with age, it's just kind of like, whatever happens is going to happen. You can stroke yourself out about it, or, being in the moment's kind of fun. But at the same time, I think that, I don't know, it kind of is what it is anymore.
All right. Well, speaking of scoreboard watching, we got Aaron Smith there in the queue.
Oh yeah. Pop him in here.
Sounded extremely excited about bringing Aaron.
I was ready for the Alex George Variety Hour show. So where'd he go?
He might pop in here. Anybody might pop in at any point. But we didn't get your. I know you demanded an introduction each week. Unfortunately, Aaron, we didn't give you one this week, but welcome back to the Bowler Show, sir.
It's great to see you guys. Definitely been an exciting week out here at the Open Championships over the past couple of days with a lot of big scores. Alex and Sam, the ringleaders in that. Alex's performance, morning after all the excitement of July 4th, 7 a.m. squad. Only half the building was going when it was going on. It was pretty surreal to just watch all that come together. I told him, I've seen a lot of stuff in this whole bowling gig thing that I have. And, going down in the 9th and 10th frame to tape his run there, I told him my hands were sweaty. Just being in that position, being able to watch something like that. So how in the hell did he make those shots as good as he did? But it was super fun to watch. I wasn't there for Sam's performance, but when all of a sudden you get a text from Gene, who was working, there's a guy with 26 in a row right now. You kind of stop everything you're doing and you kind of watch the rest of the way out. So some fantastic performances at the OC this past week, and we still got a week to go. So scoreboard watching indeed coming up for myself, and I'm sure a couple other folks in the next week or so in Vegas.
All right. Well, we've had Sam and Alex on the show, of course, and they've kind of let everybody know what they did. So what else happened here? We haven't had you on for a couple of weeks because we took the week off last week. What else has been going on? Update us on the scores and the hot dog situation.
Oh, I actually had a hot dog right before this, so I'm feeling great. So thank you for asking. The line was, it was worth the wait. There were like 4 or 5 people in front of me, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So it's been kind of underscore palooza here the past couple of weeks. A lot of 300s, a lot of 800s. Kind of everything kicked off right at the end of June. All of a sudden, we started to see this influx of scores. We went from 5 800s up to 12 now, with Nathan Bohr shooting one last night. And then all of a sudden, we were kind of stuck in the high 30s. Now we're up to 50 300s at the OC, which is, the biggest number I've seen since I've been involved with it. It's the 4th most all time. So big scores continue to roll in. But yeah, that's kind of been the big thing. But the singles story has really been kind of the thing to watch the past couple of days. We, Higgy's Aquarium was in a couple of weeks ago. They challenged for the regular team lead, and saw a chance in the 9th frame as they were working their way through it. A couple other teams approaching 3,400. But in the regular division, the singles story has been it. We had Scott Patke, who was leading with 835, for more than 2 months, or not quite 2 months, about a month and a half now that I think about it. It was late May when he bowled his, and that number seemed tough to even get to for 2 games and have a chance at. And all of a sudden we have 3 800s and singles in the past 5 days. Pretty crazy stuff, but obviously 3 very talented players doing that to kind of really shake up the standings in singles. So that's been the big thing since the last last time we talked is just players, settling in on that pair. You get to be on it for 6 games and lighten it up when they get to the back half of the game, or of the set, I should say.
All right, you talked about the 50th 300 happening. Were you on site at the time? Were you able to see that one? Because we saw the post on USBC Open Championship page, and that's the kind of celebration you want to see out of a lot of bowlers. Obviously, some bowlers have shot more 300s than others, but when you do it on that stage and you see a guy, Horatio Perez doing it and the celebration he had, those are the kind of moments that you remember out there.
Absolutely. I wish I was there. My guy Nick was taking care of business that night. But yeah, when he said, I think this was the most fun I've had watching one all year. I couldn't wait to see it. And then, to see Horatio, just the excitement after it was his first Open Championships too, which makes it even cooler. And then his wife was down there, got to have the big hug with her. So that was all awesome. Another one that, really comes into mind, which was actually the 40th this year, was Josh Kopperwitz. He was having a kind of rough tournament, nothing really going his way. He made a move in the final game and got lined up. He even caught a couple of hits along the way, which, you need your hits. But his dad, who's been coming to this event for 30 years, someone who I also, personally know. So, that made it even a little cooler for me, knowing some of John's teammates over the years and John himself, and getting to see his reaction to seeing his son shoot 300 and the just monster hug he gave him as he came off the approach. That's the stuff that you just get excited about it as a bowling fan, that folks can enjoy it that much. And we love to see it. We wish every celebration was that big. Obviously, some folks that's not their demeanor, and that's cool too. But yeah, those were, when I saw the video, I had a big smile on my face, and it was the perfect celebration for number 50 for the year for sure.
Yeah, and you and Matt, being the wordsmiths that you are, I always like the ways you phrase it when they do something like that and may have a 140 game 1 and a 170 game 3, or maybe a 530 like Sam had, and they'll say, well, he wasn't bowling up to his standards, or he hadn't settled in yet. I always like the way you guys put that, because it is funny how sometimes, especially like when we talk with Sam, he had 539, wasn't expecting to do anything, spared in the first. Next thing you know, he's got 26 in a row. So anything can happen. But I always like the way you guys do that part. And while I've got you, and we're talking about these 300s, obviously I was there last year for a month. I think I filmed probably 7 or 8 300s. So take a moment and dispel this, black cloud rumor that Matt Cannizzaro and myself have. It's really not a thing, right?
Well, it is a thing, but it applies to all of us, though. So it's not specifically tied to one person. It kind of goes back and forth, depending on, just whose energy is good that day or bad that day. I'm not sure how it works, but yes, if you do it enough, there is 100%, cloud energy for all of us involved in this anyway. So even if you're, that guy back at League who likes to videotape 300s, you got some of that because I really don't think you've gotten every single strike of every single 300 ever. So we are clouds. It happens. Hopefully everyone's cool about it when it happens. Sometimes there's a few folks who are salty we're there, but you know what? That's our job. That's why we're there. And if they did strike out, you'd want us there anyway. So, with that, it's all part of the gig. The important thing is to hopefully have fun with it, and hopefully, there's been a few instances this year where folks, there've been a lot of 710s that have creeped up in the 9th and the 10th and the 11th shot. So I always stick down there and I look at their teammates, and I'm like, he's going to pick this up now, right? And that always kind of gets a laugh. I always record it just in case, because that would be super awesome as well to just be able to share that. But yeah, just try to keep it loose in that situation. Hopefully a few teammates are doing it as well, so you can kind of, give some partial blame to them too, and kind of share the wealth in that. But at the end of the day, it's all about capturing those big moments. And like I said, when we are able to capture it and be part of that and be able to share that and get the news out, it's special for us, and hopefully very special for the bowlers as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm here in town doing a local tournament that we run, I could, if a guy shoots 300, so what? Big deal. He's done it 1,000 times. But out there, I all I could do was sit there and root for him. And when they didn't, I kind of felt bad. I'd try to, kind of sneak away real quick. But enough about the black cloud. Let's talk about the rest of the tournament, Aaron. You've got another week to go. You got some big names coming in. You got a lot of guys watching the scoreboards. Talk about what do you guys do out there? As you said, the squads are a little shorter here towards the end. What do you do here towards the end to kind of prepare for the end of the tournament?
Lots of video poker for one, but no, it's we're kind of starting to think about some of the things that we wrap up at the end of the tournament. One of the things we'll be looking at this week is contacting the 2021 champions for those big banners that are hanging up there. And, obviously some folks are going to have those coming up next year as well. So we do ship those out, if folks want them. Obviously, they're massive. So not always, the most easiest thing to set up in a house. But, for folks who have a bowling center or something like that, or a business, or, an awesome garage where they can display it. Or they can even, kind of make it into a smaller version of what it is. So, that'll be one thing we'll be doing this week. Obviously, kind of getting things prepared for, that July 18th, July 19th timeframe when we can, sit down. I can sit with Greg Moore, our tournament director, and kind of get excited for, start making some phone calls once, the scores are in, the scores are official, and we can start letting folks know, the good news that, the wait is over. No more scoreboard watching necessary. You have become a champion at the Open Championships. So those are the things we're trying to kind of tighten up, getting down the stretch here. Obviously, still a lot going on in the bowling world for us as well. The World Games is taking place in Birmingham, Alabama right now. Just right before I hopped on the show here, I got word that Shannon O'Keefe qualified for the gold medal match in singles. Then her and Julia Bond are bowling doubles tonight as well, looking to make another run at another medal out there. So that's going on. Junior gold starts up tomorrow. So that it's a little weird for me because I've earned my stripes at junior gold over the year in covering that event. So I'm still going to be out here. No junior gold for me this year, but I'm wishing luck to all the staff from the International Bowling Campus out there. All the folks who are helping with all the live streaming that we're doing. Gene and Dave, who will be covering it in place of me this year. So wishing all those folks a good and fun tournament. And of course, all the youth competitors out there, just make your spares. That's all you have to do. You get bonus bowling. Just make your spares. I promise that will work. You'll have fun out there. Fill those frames up. You'll be moving on from round to round. But in all seriousness, I really hope, for the kids who are out there competing, they take in the experience for what it is. You get 4 challenging patterns throughout qualifying. So, you're going to have your lumps along the way as you're trying to figure those out. So try just take it one shot at a time. Try to learn as much as you can during the experience, and enjoy it, knowing that especially for some of the kids who are bowling their first or second one, you got a couple more years at junior gold to really get the experience and make a long run at it. And who knows, potentially become a champion, part of Junior Team USA in the future. So kind of for all those things going on, it's still pretty busy for us in things that we're working on as a group overall at USBC and IBC. So even though the OC, the women's championships wrapped up last week at this time, the Open Championships done in basically a week from today, next Monday. So even though those things are wrapping up, we're still looking ahead to the other events ongoing throughout the country.
Yeah. So, and junior gold's interesting too, because they only, the kids only get like 6 or 8 balls total for all 4 of the patterns. And so it's a test for them, and it's just a great experience, bunch of fun. So if, kids definitely need to make it out there for that. So I'm going to be out there. We're leaving Wednesday, so I'll have to catch you and share a hot dog with you, or buy you a hot dog rather. And then Dave's tired of hearing about hot dogs, but
never.
So who you got on board here for the next couple days?
Well, we have Mr. Adam Johnson coming in very soon. AJ Johnson will be, I believe, tomorrow. And what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, AJ will be out on the lanes. Marshall Kent's coming up in a couple of days. I think he's bowling team on the 13th. And then even on the final team day, very talented group, featuring some folks like Sean Riccardi, David O'Sullivan, PJ Haggerty. That group, I believe, is bowling on the last team squad into the last doubles and singles day. So, at the end of the day, it really is nonstop of the talent that rolls through the Open Championships. And I think just a testament to all the great bowlers, all the great teams out there that, even after we hit some of these, mid-May, we had that crazy week with Andrew Anderson and Bo Gergen. Wriggles group was all in there. And it was just this massive wave of big names out there. And then it slows down for a second. And then all of a sudden Bowl Expo week happens and Higgies is out there and everybody else is bowling and it gets all crazy again. And then there's still so many great players out there who are still kind of just waiting for their time to make a run. They know exactly what they need to get there, and we'll be there if they get the job done.
Yeah, and then here in about another week, you can go somewhere for a couple weeks and just nap for sleep 15 hours a day for the next solid month or something, and.
There will be some rest in between. Yes, I will be returning to the PWBA Tour to help out for the final Classic Series in Dallas, since that's a local event for me. So looking forward to being back in the mix on the tour and helping the crew out over there. But yeah, after that, I think it's time for some vacation and going to enjoy the time away. For just a little bit before we get back into the action, because we're always looking ahead to the next event and of course the next Open Championships as well in the future. So everything for 23 is already slowly getting into motion, and we'll be looking forward to that soon as well in Reno. So it's kind of a constantly moving situation, but we're always looking ahead. But I will take full advantage of that time off, enjoy catching up on some sleep and probably a few other activities as well. So,
all right, I think we'll. Speaking of sleep, we'll let you get back to it. I guess it's not even quite 6 o'clock yet in Vegas, so you probably got several more hours to go.
Let's, Aaron, you got a quick Norm Duke story for us?
Absolutely. Several to be in fact, but I'll limit it to just one. One of my favorites. In 2017 at the US Open in, I believe Flamingo, New York was the exact town. It was right outside of Syracuse before we went there for the Open in 18. Myself and Jason Thomas were out there to cover the event. So no live streaming on our part at that point. So we were just doing videos and stories for Bowl.com and social media and stuff like that. And during one of the qualifying rounds, and this was when we had, this was before Fresh for Every pattern. So this was when burn and double burn was going on. And scores weren't necessarily out of this world by any stretch, even, when you hit the burn or double burn. And Norm put together this ridiculous block for 8, something like plus, it was like plus 350 or something crazy like that, when no one else was even remotely close to that number. And it was just one of those things where we watched, we covered the tournament, obviously we're there to capture all the moments, but all of a sudden it's okay, this is kind of, it's hard not to pay attention to Norm just putting on this spectacle. And it was just phenomenal to watch, just absolutely lacing every shot. And so obviously that was going to be our interview for the video afterward. And so Jason, because they have the squad coming up right afterward, Jason kind of had his little area. He went to go get set up. He's like, hey, go get Norm for us, bring him over here, and then you'll do the interview. I'm like, all right, great. So the paddock that year was on the low end of the house. And actually part of it was outside too. And we were set up on the high end of the house. So I made my way all the way to the low end. I'm looking for Norm, and there's an autograph line. So I get in line. I'm like 6th in line. I kind of wait. He's signing autographs. I'm fully decked out in my work attire. I got my badge and lanyard on, and he's ready to sign something for me. He's like, "Oh, what can I sign for you?" I'm like, "Oh, Norm, real quick, no, I'm Aaron with USBC. We actually want to catch you for an interview over on the high end when you're all wrapped up here." He's like, all right, I'll be over there in a couple minutes. I'm like, all right, excellent, thank you. So I had to get in line to make sure we got the video with him. But then when we had him over there for the video, it was one of those just perfect, Norm Duke type interviews where, it wasn't anything cookie cutter. He, absolutely went into this great explanation of putting together a big block at the US Open. It was just one of those things. And the best part for me personally was, they usually cut out our questions. So you didn't know who he was talking to necessarily, but he actually referenced me in one of the questions. And I got to brag to everyone. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm that Aaron he was talking about right then and there, or talking to at that point. So, that was always a very special moment for me. On Twitter a couple of days ago, I shared a video when he shot or had the front 29 at the Senior Masters back in 2019. A tremendous little video clip of his 22nd consecutive strike where he did this cool ninja chop when he got a messenger that if anyone was close enough, it could have taken a limb off. But with that moment, like right after he finished up, Matt and I were covering it in the Bull TV booth, and he comes up like just real nonchalant. He's like, "Hey, what did I end up with? I didn't see my last game," and it was like, "You just had 862, Norm." He's like, "Okay, all right, thanks," and we're like, "Yeah, awesome bowling."
Oh yeah,
thanks, bud. And he went off to take care of business after that, but it was just. Bowling wise, one of the most incredible performances I've ever gotten to see. And it seems like Norm just has a panache for those type of moments. So, it just a tip of the cap to him for just a phenomenal career. And obviously I didn't get to watch it because I was at work today, but, just checking out social media, all the love that Norm got, especially getting to throw the very last shot there and delivering a strike in front of the crowd there in Portland was pretty phenomenal. So just a tip of the cap to Norm Duke, and just thank you for everything, Norm. We appreciate you.
All right, very well said. And we have a listener to let us know that was Flamingo Bowl in Liverpool.
Okay, so it was Flamingo Bowl. I had the Flamingo part right. There we go.
Anyway, I know you like to keep things facts first and on the up and up, so I wanted to point that out since our listener is listening, and we have viewers that are actually viewing and interacting here. But anyway, we better let you go, Aaron. Once again, next week we will be taking another week off. Luke will be invading the hot dog cart in your office and whatever else in Las Vegas he can invade, and maybe at the end of the day you'll be interviewing him.
I'll be looking forward to it. Luke, safe travels, buddy, and we'll see you out here in a couple of days. Hot dogs are made.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
All right, Aaron, have a good night, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks again, as always.
All right, thank you. All right, Luke, we're running a little bit late here, but I'm assuming our last guest has been patient, waiting in the queue there. He's got some good stuff to talk about here on the Bowler Show. Obviously, we're going to stay in the USBC record show here, or almost records for the couple of our other guests, but this guest did shoot a record. How you can decide whether you want to count it or not, but he bowled it. He did it. He lived through it. He shot 1455 for 5 games in a tournament. I don't care if you're on Wii Bowling or where at. That's an incredible score. So we're proud to bring on PBA professional Zach Wilkins. Zach, welcome to the Bowler Show, sir.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. First off, thanks for your patience. Appreciate you waiting here. Sometimes we go a little long. Luke and I will get started on something, or the guest will, and that's just the way it is. But we're not on the radio. We have no time constraints.
It's kind of like the start of your tournaments, Dave. They never start on time.
That is that's a pretty good reference there.
Somehow we're running on a Damski time without a Damski. So.
Yeah.
Maybe we should rename it.
I'll defend ourselves a little bit. It's our fault for letting guys come in at two-tell and paying all their stuff. And to be honest, some of our regulars do that now. I won't point them out. They may have been mentioned on the show earlier, but that's something we've tried to get a little better at. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about that. They've listened in here to hear about you. Let's start off with the 1455. You're bowling a tournament. You're striking away, but of course you're not thinking about anything crazy like what happened. Take us through those 5 games.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it's kind of funny because I really didn't even know about this tournament until I got asked to bowl, and it was by Brandon Pierce. So he messaged me about a week out and asked if I wanted to bowl, and I said, yeah, sure. So I messaged my backer saying, hey, we got a tournament coming up. There's going to be lots of brackets, and I'm bowling with a really good doubles partner. And then my doubles partner, he's like, hey, will your backer back me as well? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he's like, all right, the deal is if he backs me, I'll give you a Scotty Cameron putter. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool trade. So basically I bowled the tournament, and my mind was just on the Scotty Cameron putter. It really wasn't even about bowling at that point. But yeah, wood lanes, we were crossing we were changing pairs every game. And I think I was more nervous come the 3rd game because I had a chance to shoot my high 3. And prior to that, it was 867. And I needed the first 2 hits in the 10th to get 875. And that was the most nervous I was throughout the entire day. And the next 2 games after that, I was anticipating shooting 300 flopping ends to the low end, and then having 280 as my low game. Like like you said, that's straight out of Wii bowling.
Yeah, you dropped your average the last game there, but it's kind of cool that you had the Scotty Cameron putter. I saw the way you putted the other day. You could definitely use it.
Yeah, there were a couple 3 putts with it, but we'll get that fixed.
We got a chance to golf together, Luke, and Zach saw some of the worst side of my golf, and Zach started off really good. I believe he was 1 over after 10, and then the wheels kind of fell off. But he's got some game for sure. So
yeah, I think the craziest thing about the 1455 is the most I had in a row at one point was only 13 in a row, which is, those kind of numbers you'd have a 30 bagger somewhere if you're striking 55 out of 60 shots, but it was only 13.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the equipment. We've had Sam Swinford throwing a what did he throw again? I forgot what he said now, but he's using motive.
It was Alpha Jackal.
Alpha Jackal, and then of course the Tank Blitz from Alex George.
Yeah.
What were you using during that string?
I was using an Iron Forge, so it's a pretty clean cover with a very big engine in it, so a pretty big core.
All right. Well, Zach, people saw this score, and they wonder, to be perfectly honest, there's some 2-handers out there, and there's some guys with a little more notoriety maybe. But we're watching the PBA League, and we didn't see you on the screen on any of the teams. You want to take a moment and tell us, were you eligible to be picked, and then also what may have happened, why you weren't picked?
Yeah, so I was eligible. I believe they take the top 75 in points, and then you get put into the draft to the people that aren't kept on the team. So I think I ended up the year 50, or I think 59th, or somewhere in the 50s in points this year. So I was eligible for the draft. Unfortunately, I was not picked. It kind of sucks because the last 5 years with all the changes they've done to the league. So the very first year when I was eligible, it was the top 30 in points. So I was, I believe, 29th or 28th. And there was 3 people that were left off the team, and I was one of them. Then the following year, I believe they changed it to the top 40. I was eligible for the points then, wasn't selected. And then they went to the top 75 the following 3 years. And every year I've been eligible. It's lit a fire under me to be in that atmosphere because it looks really fun. And I think I have the resume and the talent to be there. But I mean, I just got to stick with the process, and I mean, one day I will be there. That's a fact.
Well, it's good to hear you saying it that way, the lighting the fuse. And I'll say it. I'll say it right now. There's guys on there, a couple of three that I would say do not have the resume that you have, and I would pick you over them if it came down to a certain situation. So, and I don't know how much you think about it, but watching the PBA league, and actually I've got the replay right up here in the corner of my
I'm about to watch it after we get off here. I haven't seen it yet.
There was an insane ending there. Obviously, I don't know what you got to see because Luke and I had some other stuff going on. We didn't get to see it, but anyway, you should be.
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, I've never really bowled in that kind of atmosphere before, so I mean, who's to say if I strike or not strike during that atmosphere? However, I mean, I've competed all over the world in kind of atmospheres like that for my country, and I mean, I'm ready for that kind of atmosphere.
All right. Speaking of bowling for your country, I believe Luke's got a question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you have bowled all over the world, and you have bowled for Team Canada. However, there was a situation, so I was just gonna lead you into it and tell everybody what's going on.
Yeah. No, I think what everyone doesn't understand is they think Well, I'll first start off by saying, I was not selected to be a part of Team Canada for the 2022 season. I'm currently on a visa here in the United States, so I couldn't go back to Canada to bowl our trials, unfortunately. It's not the first time this has happened to one of our competitors. There's been multiple people that have been stuck during visas and unable to bowl. However, I wasn't selected, and I think what everyone doesn't understand is I was not mad about not being selected. It's just how the process happened. We get the email usually about a week and a half prior to them announcing it on social medias. And so when I found out I wasn't selected, I messaged them asking who was selected so I could congratulate them and why I wasn't selected. That's usually the process the governing bodies have to do, is they have to give you a reason on why, and they never gave me a reason why. So that kind of upset me a little bit. There's other things going on with our federation, with our coaching. We're at a national level where, we're competing against the world's best, and our coaching just isn't great. We've had great coaching in the past. However, our coaching, we don't have the funding to pay them. So they're more so volunteers, which kind of sucks. So we rely on a lot of talent on our team, and we do have a lot of talent. We have Frankie, we have Mitch, Graham, Darren, Nathan. He's won the ball master. So all the guys that are on the team right now, they know how to bowl, and they deserve to be on the team. It's just the way that it took place and why I wasn't given a reason based off my resume at a world level with, I think, 3 or 4 world medals, and then records in PABCON and Canadian records that I've set. So it's kind of very annoying, and when I call them out on their stuff, they still don't give me a reason why. So it's kind of a shame. And I'll say it here, as I've said to a lot of people, I'll never represent our federation again, unless stuff changes.
And that's it's such a tough position to take, because you realize that you're putting yourself in a situation where you may not be able to enjoy things that you would otherwise do if you just kind of just keep your mouth shut, I guess, and kind of go with the flow or whatever. But you're also sacrificing this for the best interest of not only yourself but the country, other people, and so it's tough and it sucks. But hopefully something happens out of it. Hopefully you get rewarded for your
I look at it as self-growing. I came to the United States this year with a purpose to get a visa so that way I can take bowling more seriously, because in Canada we only have one good tournament a year, and that's the Montreal Cup. But it hasn't taken place in a couple of years due to COVID. And I mean, I guess you can say trials is good, but with the visa process and the lack of bowling in Canada, I'll take my successes over here and, I mean, just shove it in their face, I guess.
Yeah, I know we see you plenty of times in the Kansas City tournaments, and I've been part of the donating pool a couple times, but no, it's always fun to watch a bowl and have you here, and I love your tribal tattoo, by the way, and it's a special tribal tattoo because it's motive tribal tattoo.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah. Before I was on with Storm, I
solidified my spot on staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I was on with Storm, I threw motive exclusively, and I would take around a Covert Revolt, a Signature, and a Tribal. And if I couldn't get anything done with just those 3 balls, it wasn't going to happen with anything.
Yeah, those 3 were like the greatest of all time. Yeah. Those were the daddies for a while.
Yeah, I was I'm definitely not disappointed about my situation, but it hurt. It hurt kind of putting those away and saying, no, sorry, we got to go a different direction.
Zach, it was good to hear you call that a self-growing moment, because you could definitely use some growth.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm only 5'3", but you know, we're still growing. You never know.
I had to throw a shot at you for the reference. Anyway, somebody in the chat mentioned it, but go ahead and tell everybody what did you do with that ball right after you got done? Where's the 1455 ball now?
That ball is signed with all the games, so it has every game written down with the total, has the date on it, and my autograph. And here in Kansas City, at Gladstone Bowl, I have Drew, who, I mean, I lay out all my stuff, and then he drills them. And I thought it was very fitting for Drew's pro shop to have that bowling ball in a glass case in his shop, just to be presented. I mean, not every day a guy who drills a bowling ball, you're going to have some kind of record with it. So I thought it was very fitting to give it to Drew.
That's really cool. A lot of guys would never give that away right away. At least they would try to squeeze a few more 291s out of there, whatever you ended up averaging. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes I want to get the magic eraser and sneak in there and take off all the scores on that ball and throw it again, because there hasn't been many strikes lately. But I mean, we're still sticking with the process, and hopefully we can break my own record someday.
All right. Well, we know you bowl on tour. We know you've interacted with Norm Duke a little bit. We've asked this of everybody today, but take a moment and tell us your best Norm Duke memory.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on here. I mean, I'll keep it relatively PG, but it just shows you Norm's, character and the way he's just a warrior on the lanes, and when he shoots up, he wants to win. And I mean, he doesn't bowl a tournament not knowing that he's not going to win. Like, he's there to win. But I was living in Brad Angelo's basement for 2 years when I was in New York, and Brad allowed me to go to one of the World Series of Bowling stops. I believe it was at Thunder Bowl. So as a guy just getting his feet wet with PBA bowlers, and he asked me, hey, I need a favor. And I was like, yeah, sure. What's up? He's like, can you go to the paddock? I need some clothes for a photo shoot. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. I'm going in the paddock. Like, holy cow. So Norm at this point is bowling Tom Smallwood for the World Championship show, the one that Smallwood ended up winning. So I'm the only one in the paddock. Like, I'm completely lost. Don't belong here. And in comes Chris Schlemmer and Norm Duke. So Norm Duke just lost right before the TV show. Norm comes in. I mean, we've all done it before. He throws his bowling ball in disgust, yells at his ball rep. I mean, like a lot of the PBA bowlers do. And he's like, if I ever lose to this guy again, you're fired. And I mean, I don't think Norm ever lost to Tom Smallwood again, and Schlemmer kept his job for a while.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Zach, we're running a little over, which is nothing unusual for us.
That's fine.
Just as Adamski and I start late, we pick whoever to pay too. So, so you got anything else for us before we let you go, sir?
Yeah, I'm coming for Alex George's 848 I Bowl Nationals next weekend.
Oh yeah, so you
even got left off the dignitary list by Aaron Smith too. So you got a lot of fuses that.
I mean, I like to be the guy that flies under the radar, which is totally fine. It's just more fuse to the fire, right?
Yeah, easy for you to get under the radar. We'll just we'll leave you with that one. Hey, we gotta hit the golf course again. I need to redeem myself, and you need to. You've got. I can see in your game. You've got a 72 in you for sure. You just kind of lost it at the end, but your swing in your game is pretty solid, just like your.
I appreciate it, Dave.
Yep. All right, Zach. You have a good night. We'll wrap this thing up, and we'll talk to you soon, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Absolutely. Yeah, all right, Luke, that's going to do it for our show tonight. We had all kinds of good stuff on here. USBC records, sanctioned, unsanctioned, whatever, it doesn't matter. Eagles could be won, all kinds of good stuff. So I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add to the show here that we've left out, anything in the chat or anything else in particular?
No, we won't spoil the there were definitely some interesting things that went on the PBA League finals. And hopefully I can go catch that because I think it started just like an hour ago. So I can go get something to eat and check out the end of that show. But the bowling community is abuzz about the way that this thing finished up, and then especially being Norm's last official tournament bowling period. So he's not even going PBA. I mean, he's not just going to reserve himself to the PBA 50 or whatever. It's just he's done. He's just. I've done what I've done. I'm done. He's still gonna show up and do promotional stuff. And like Blair said, he's gonna be at Junior Gold, and I'm sure he'll show up at Bowl Expo and stuff like that. But he's just gonna be shaking hands, telling stories, and giving autographs. So I think that's probably a good way to do it rather than dragging it out. Or he just knows it's his time, and he's gonna leave it at that. So.
That's the way I handled it in 1999 myself. So I didn't brag it out or anything. I realized that it was over, but I've got the show on actually in the top right here. I've been kind of peeking over there, and it's about halfway through, obviously, and everybody can see that at the end. It was a pretty cool ending. We'll leave it at that. So, Luke, once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Storm Bowling, our title sponsor, for keeping us on the air. Also, SRGBBFS. Storm Roto Grip bowling balls for sale. Coolwick, I Am Bowling, S&H Custom Homes, BobbyJacksons.com, Double J's Pro Shop, Bowlers Mart, and hopefully, I don't know, did I forget anybody any on your shirt there?
I don't know. I think we got them all.
I believe we got them all. So we got the dogs in the video this week. Actually, Gabby, you want to lean in here real quick and wave goodbye to everybody? She's going to try to sneak in here. I've got a delicate little setup here, so Gab, can you just lean in real quick? Yes.
Hi.
One little. You're going to come down here, Gab.
Yeah.
Down here, and just stick your head right in there and say hi. There's the side of
Gabby.
Gabby.
Yeah, we can see some of Gabby.
All right, that's all the time we have. Gab, get out of the screen, will you? So we got the dog in, we got the daughter in, and everything is good in the bowling world. So, Luke, this was a different experience. I think we're going to be fine doing it this way. And I won't be holding up you and Angel's dinner, and I won't be driving an hour and a half down the turnpike home each night. So I think the technology worked great tonight.
Yeah, and with the way gas is going, they'll
Exactly. Angel, thank you also. I think I forgot to mention you here at the end of the show. Thanks for producing the show, getting those links out, and once again, no glitches at all. So, Luke, why don't you wrap it up and send us out of here?
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Once again, we will not be here next week. I will hopefully not be drowning my sorrows in hot dogs at this time next Sunday. Hopefully, I can have a conversation with Aaron Smith for more than just thanks for the hot dog, man. Whatever. But we will be back the following Sunday. So that'll be, let me see, the 24th, and then we will be off again on the 31st because we'll be in Springfield. You guys are running a doubleheader down there, so we'll be down in Springfield, Missouri. But then once we get into August, once we get back into the season, bowling gets ready to start back up here in just a little over a month for most people. So once we get back into bowling season, we'll ramp it up full speed and be good to go for a while. So thanks, everybody. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.